want to play our style of ball, get Sam on the move. Guys got to learn what to do and how to do it. You're only allowed a certain amount of allotted time on the field, and we're trying to use that time better than anybody else. Go from individual to group, how it all fits together. It's fun to watch these guys put it together. It's really exciting.
Welcome to the King 5 Seahawks Training Camp Special alongside Arielle, Orsuto, and Chris Egan. I'm Paul Silvi. Thank you for joining us. Been out here all day long on day one of training camp here at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center, and there's a lot to get to. You know, we talk about different observations we made on day one, and really, how many can you make on day one, except the fact that there's some new faces out there. But honestly, the one thing that stood out to me is the fact that Ken Walker, sometimes the oft-injured running back who does so much when he's healthy, he was healthy on day one here today, doing all the drills, making all the cuts he needs. So having a running back out there, the caliber of Ken Walker as he goes into his final year of his contract, it was encouraging to see him healthy and ready to go.
Well, I guess I'm going to pick up that, well, there were some new faces out there. Because
Is that how I did it? Because I wasn't sure.
Because what was actually really encouraging to me were some of those new faces out there. It was actually those new faces that I saw on the offense and how easily they seem to be picking up that offense. I mean, of course, there's no defense really against them in some of the drills, but they really seem to be clicking right away with the quarterbacks that were throwing them the ball.
Yeah, you guys talk about the new faces. I think when I first went out there, it was not seeing some faces, not seeing DK Metcalf, not seeing Geno Smith, and of course then you turn to a Sam Darnold and a Cooper Kupp, some players we'll be chatting with, but not seeing those faces. How does this team develop in year 2 under Mike Macdonald? I think it's different when you come out to training camp. Everybody will say that. We remember the days of Pete Carroll. You know, he was rah-rah and getting into the crowd. The music is still here. There's still excitement. It's still day one of training camp, but it's just different. And I think this is going to be a big year for Mike Macdonald to kind of really put his imprint down this year. It's going to be fun. This is a team. They look pretty good. It's only day one, but they had great OTAs. They had a great rookie minicamp, so I think they're set for success.
Yeah, and Mike Macdonald said that afterward. He talked for 20 minutes or so to the media and mentioned the fact that he hasn't seen his players since early June, and to see them on the field here was exciting as a head coach to kind of see the progress they've made since really getting underway in the offseason workout. So good to see him a little bit more optimistic going into his second season as a head coach of this Seahawks team. You know, we all know, I think there's this underlying theme with the Seahawks, or maybe it's overlying the fact that I think this defense is going to carry this football team and drive the success of this team. And on that note, Leonard Williams is going to be one of those key players. He led the Seahawks in sacks last year with 11. He had against the Jets. And Leonard Williams, the big cat, is just a dominant defensive lineman, and he's a guy who can do a lot up front. And the fact that he's so durable and has a lot of endurance, a lot of strength, I just think he's going to be one of the key players. And there's several on that side of the ball, but you got to have a healthy Leonard Williams up front, taking up bodies, forcing double teams, and I think he's going to be a key player for this Seahawks defense. And Mike Macdonald, as you mentioned, Chris, is going to have a second year of putting his footprint on this defense, and I think we're going to see another upgrade into his second season.
Well, you mentioned the big cat, and nobody fires up the crowd like the big cat, but today, after day one, we did see one player signing autographs for over an hour over there, very popular already with the crowd, that being Yakima's own Cooper Kupp, the former Eastern are already making an impact on this team. He is a veteran. He's 32 years old. This is a 2021 Pro Bowler, the Offensive Player of the Year in 2021. In 2021, he played 17 games, had 145 receptions, and nearly 2,000 yards receiving. The big question for him now, can he stay healthy? In 2022, played only 9 games, 75 receptions. In 2023, 12 games, 54 receptions. Last year, 12 games, 67 receptions. So this is a wide receiver that comes to camp. He has that veteran presence. He's going to be able to work well with a lot of the youngsters, but you need him on the field. If he's not healthy, he's not helping the club. So he has to stay healthy. I like this pickup during the offseason. I think he brings a lot to this team, and already day one, and he's one of the fan favorites already.
I see you at your proven players, at your Pro Bowl players, but I've got to bring you guys a rookie that I'm so excited about, and clearly the team is so excited about. It's Nick Emenwari. It was their second round. Should have really been a first-round pick, and they're paying him like a first-round pick. They're giving him a fully guaranteed contract. It's the first time ever that a 35th overall pick is getting that fully guaranteed contract. And here's why. He ran a 4.340 at the combine. They're going to be using him in that nickel position. That safety position is so locked down already, and they already feel like they can use him day one in that nickel slot because he's so strong, he's so athletic, he's been proven at South Carolina, and they really believe that he's going to be that X factor in that secondary that they can use right out of the gate, and they believe in him so hard. And he already, just in his rookie mini camp, was out there showing guys, leading guys exactly with what he did back in college, and I'm excited to see him bring this to this team.
Yeah, he's his strength reminds a lot of people of Cam Chancellor, and Seahawks fans know all about Cam, so we'll be interested to draw comparisons between the two as the season goes on. And as you mentioned, him being a second-rounder, getting a fully guaranteed contract this year, as you guys know, after coming out of that draft, that second round seemed to be a bugaboo for a lot of NFL teams because those second-round picks all wanted guaranteed money or as much as they possibly could get. And even Worry definitely got his fully guaranteed, came to camp with a big smile on his face, and there's a lot to look forward to with that young man. I love physical players, physical defensive backs especially, guys kind of built like a linebacker, so it'll be interesting to see him bang a few heads out there. And Chris?
Well, your the transition's perfect. Physical. What do we the first player you talk about is Ken Walker, the running back. Ken Walker is nothing without those big boys up front. The offensive line, they are the ones, they shake the ground, they move things. When you talk about the Seahawks, it's been the big question mark for this team for not 1 year, for decades. How will the offensive line look? It has been a big deal this year. I had the chance to speak with the veteran of the offensive line, Abe Lucas, to get his thoughts on the season ahead.
This season, the Seahawks are putting an extra emphasis on a run-first approach with the offensive line leading the charge. The O-line has some changes, with rookie Gray Zabel now at left guard. Veteran lineman Abe Lucas says Zabel is already fitting into the mix.
I mean, Gray's a worker. He puts his head down, wants to do his job the right way, and that's all we can ask for. And he'll be as good as he wants to be. Like anybody, he'll be as good as he wants to be.
And how key is that also to build those relationships with the guys on the left and the right of you and in that offensive line and building chemistry there?
I mean, the continuity is the most important thing. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to get a lot of reps. Going to get a lot of reps this year, and it's only going to make us better.
Lucas is not only dealing with new faces on the O-line and new offensive coaches, he's also working with a new quarterback in Sam Darnold.
Sam's got an edge to him. I would describe him as more of a quiet competitor. I mean, obviously he's a quarterback, so he's vocal, but yeah, I'm excited to block for him. I'm excited to, protect his front side, so to speak, and, see what happens with it.
Abe Lucas, now in his fourth season with the Seahawks, has missed 21 games the past 2 seasons because of injuries. He says he has one major goal this season.
I'm trying to frame this the right way so I don't get in trouble. Stay healthy, we'll say, yeah.
How key is this to get this time at training camp where you haven't had that in the past couple of years?
This is, I would say, as critical as it gets, just starting to really just refine your specialties and put the tools in the toolbox and just continue to learn everything.
All right, good to see the former Washington State Cougar healthy on the field working out. This is a big deal for the Seahawks to have him up there working with the young Gray Zabel up there. And you talk about new faces. When you look at, it's not just players, you guys. This is also the coaching staff. There's over a half dozen new offensive coaches out there. The offensive line coaching staff they've added, over 47 years of combined experience in the NFL. So Mike McDonald's bringing a little experience with that offensive line.
Yeah, we're expecting those guys to run the football a lot this year. I think that's what Mike said today when they asked him what he expects from this offense. He goes, we're going to pound the rock. That was the first thing out of his mouth because he wants to establish a run and get this time of possession and make this Seahawks offense kind of roll down the field. Oh, we do know this about offensive linemen. They love to block the run. They love to just put their manpower out there and blow these guys off the line, and we're going to see a lot of that this year. Gray Zabel, the rookie, is very capable of doing that. But, Chris, as you mentioned, having a healthy Abe Lucas is like having a healthy Ken Walker out there. Like, we're not used to seeing Lucas healthy for any stretch, and to have him be healthy for this season would be outstanding.
No, I think it's key for this team, and that will be actually when you look at training camp, Paul. I mean, obviously, Abe's pretty set in his spot, and you got Gray, but there's going to be some battles when it comes to this offensive line. There's going to be a lot of fighting going on up there, and then we have the tight end spot that we want to talk about because that is part of this offensive line as well.
Yeah, and today we saw the fans out here today. Today, day one was just for season ticket holders. They were lots of Souvenirs going out there today, a lot of fun, and the fans were having a lot of fun out there on the burb, and it was cool to see. And I know that as season ticket holders, they love this day of the year.
They shot hot dogs actually into the crowd.
Oh,
yeah.
You okay? Did you get hit at all? Or you?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
My favorite were the Hawaiian shirts that were being passed
yeah.
out. Yeah, a lot of really good swag. And, of course, the hot dogs. It wasn't hot dogs from heaven.
No.
The hot dogs from ground level.
Hot dogs up into the berm. Yeah. I think they were bratwurst, too.
Yeah. Well, either way, fans had a great time today, and there'll be much more of that because the weather has been, as Seattle, Seahawks fans and everybody knows throughout the season, you're going to get into some rain and some real crappy weather. But this stuff that we've experienced over the last 6 to 8 weeks has been awesome. And these guys coming up from Mississippi and Florida, enjoying this 75 and 80 degrees for football, that's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I mean, they think that they can wear the long sleeves in this. Meanwhile, I'm out here thinking this is 2-shower weather.
2-shower weather. All right, we got much more to come here on the Seahawks training camp special. We are live at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. We'll look for more players to watch as we continue here. Stay with us. Welcome back to the King 5 Seahawks training camp special. We are live at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center alongside Chris Egan and Arielle Orsuto. I'm Paul Silvi. We thank you for looking in. We've kind of been breaking down day one, and we want to be honest with you. There's not a lot to break down on day one of training camp, okay? We're not some big important thing we got to break out there. But there's just been some observations. And we talk about the new faces, but we also talk about some of the veterans that weren't out here today. Chris mentioned some of the big names of the past that aren't here. We've also mentioned the fact that there's some injured players that aren't out here.
Yeah, one of those is Uchenna Nwosu. He had his off-season knee surgery, right, to fix that. And, we asked Mike McDonald, where's that coming along? He said he's not necessarily very close, and it could lead up to the season. So that was actually a pretty big update to find out that this might take the entire training camp. This might take all of this preseason and lead into the season. So he was pretty candid about that.
And he's a key factor of this defense,
Right.
but when you look at it, pretty limited when you talk about the number of injuries, or usually we're talking about a holdout at this point, Paul, or something like that. Nothing major in regards to that at this moment.
Yeah, and the fact that he's on the PUP list, and if he is still on that PUP list when the season starts, he's got to miss the first 4 games of the season. So certainly something to keep an eye on. Nwosu, as much as he struggled staying on the field with injury problems, he is certainly one of the leaders on this team and is looked up to by his teammates. When you look at other leaders on this team, when they got Ernest Jones last year in the trade with the Titans, he came in here and he was the guy that Mike McDonald kind of had just pegged for the type of wants leading this team. Bobby Wagner, we've seen it for years. He was the quarterback on that Seahawks defense. Well, now Ernest Jones has become that guy. He's so good against the run. 3rd on the team with 94 tackles last year, and he doesn't need a whole lot of help when he's got you when he's got you in his sights. He's going to take you down. I like the fact that this is a smart player. He's a young player at 25 years old, and he's just what the Seahawks needed at least halfway through last season, so they could kind of get a picture of what they can expect under Mike McDonald and the defense. So, again, Ernest Jones, in my mind, is one of the key players on this defense to watch, and hopefully he can stay healthy. He's done a nice job so far.
Well, you mentioned Ernest Jones. You mentioned Uchenna. We've already talked about the big cat. I think there's another player we haven't mentioned, and I feel like he could be the best defensive player on this team. I watched him closely during OTAs. He is set for a monster 3rd year, that being Devin Witherspoon, the spoon-time Pro Bowler. And some people are calling him possibly the leader of this defense. He is playing with a little chip on his shoulder. He's been talking a lot of trash during OTAs. I didn't get a chance to see him with the wide receivers today. Cooper Kupp even mentioned him. He's like, this guy is coming after me during OTAs. It was some fun stuff. He's your first-round pick in 2023. He's already a 2-time Pro Bowler. How about this from last year with Spoon? 17 games. Started all 17. Did not miss 1 game. 98 tackles last year. Outside quarterback, nickelback. There's some football analysts that are calling him the best lockdown corner in the NFL, and he's on this field right here. So I'm looking for a monster year from Spoon. Put him in the Pro Bowl already for me. It's only day one. I've already got him in the Pro Bowl.
We haven't even seen a preseason game yet. But that's fun because, yes, a lot of people are optimistic about Spoon, and we know he's got a lot of capabilities, and he's a very physical defensive back for a guy his size.
Well, we've already jumped the shark, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The position battle I have my eyes on the most this entire training camp is the tight end, and that is just for sure because they just released Noah Fant, saved $9 million with that. But inside the position battle, you have the rookie Elijah Arroyo, but you also have the second-year player in A.J. Barner, and that's who I'm really looking at is A.J. Barner, and seeing how he looks in his second year, coming back from a really good rookie season. He had 30 receptions, 4 touchdowns in that breakout role. He also was a really good blocker for his size. And I'm focusing on AJ because I think that he is a little bit less athletic than Elijah Arroyo, who's probably kind of a hybrid receiver, but I think that he's actually probably the more true tight end, and I think he's actually has a pretty good leg up, especially as the returner here coming into this tight end battle. I think we have a lot of eyes on him, but a lot of eyes on both of these guys heading into this. This is going to be a wide open competition for both of them, but my eyes are on A.J. Barner.
And a very important position
Absolutely.
with Kubiak's offense, that tight end. It was interesting you mentioned Noah Fant. That came over during the weekend. Noah Fant released. Of course, Seahawks fans are, why? Wait, and you mentioned the number, $8.9 million,
About
something
$9
like
million
that.
is what I
Salary cap space. This is a business. They have to fit things in. It was a move that's going to save them big time money, and it's a move they made. So
yeah, it's funny today because Mike McDonald was holding court after practice, and someone asked him about Noah Fant, and he gave a quick answer. And then the follow-up was, why? Like, why did you release him? And Mike McDonald looked at the reporter basically like, are you kidding me, man? You really want me to tell you how and why we make our decisions like we do? He's not going to go there.
No.
And but people, the obvious answer is what you guys just mentioned.
$9 million.
He's, you can't have their second highest paid guy on your team a tight end. So
it's a business. This isn't junior high football where every kid plays and come on over. You know, it's a business.
If we're being honest here, A.J. Barner proved that he can really step into that role, and Elijah Arroyo was drafted in the position he was drafted in to take on that
for
role.
a reason. Yeah.
And I love Barner's got a little mean streak to him, and he's got a little fire to him too. So he'll be fun to watch into this season. But we talked about some other new names on the offensive side of the ball, and you were kind of studying that side of the ball today.
Absolutely, and I mean, obviously, just Sam Darnold himself is a new name on that side of the ball, but he's going to have a lot of new targets, and one of those is going to be somebody who's a bit of a deep threat, and that's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's a new-look Seahawks offense, and Sam Darnold has himself a deep threat opportunity with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And MVS has himself some familiarity with his play caller, Clint Kubiak.
I have a lot of insight, a lot of experience, a lot of reps at, the offense that he ran. Kind of being able to be the voice when he's not in the room of like, hey, this is kind of what we did last year. This is his vision with it. Obviously me and Sam came in the same draft class, so I've known him for a very long time. And obviously he's here for a reason. He can spin it.
Let's make some noise one more time.
Valdez-Scantling also believes he's here for a reason. Last year with Kubiak's Saints, Scantling started the final 8 games of the season, catching 17 passes for 385 yards, giving him a career-best 22.5 yards per reception. He was given one thing in New Orleans that he hopes to see again in Seattle.
The opportunity. I think just being able to play this game another year, getting out here and showcasing my ability for one more year. 8 years into the league, it's a blessing, and I'm just honored for the opportunity.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs. He knows what it looks like to have a common goal coming into a new training camp.
Belief. Obviously I've been on some really great teams, and they're no different than any other NFL team. Everybody has talent, but it's about the belief and buying into the system and doing it the right way.
So he talked about belief, obviously, that he wants to come into a position where, he has another chance to be in a system, and he's coming into a pretty familiar system with Clint Kubiak. He played for him last year, and he had one of his best seasons, at least in those last 8 games.
And let's set the record straight for everybody listening and watching right now. Marquez
Valdez-Scantling. He introduced himself to me himself today.
Yeah, not Marquez, Marquez.
I don't know if you need to say it like that, Chris.
Well, that's what he
I think
said,
it's
Paul.
Marquez.
He came and said
I don't
Marquez.
think he comes and says it's Marquez.
Hey, we were there on the field.
He did, yes. In fact,
So it's fancy.
It's a little bit Marquez.
It's fancy.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Because that's when he goes by his cornerbacks. It's Marquez.
All right. We did hear from Mike McDonald today. I can't say his name any fancier than Chris just said Marquez. So,
but try.
Yeah, I can't. McDonald has high expectations for this football team. He knows it takes time to build, but he certainly is anxious and very happy with the progress his team has made over the last several months.
It's an awesome atmosphere, man. I'll tell you what. I'll put our training camp atmosphere, the 12s, just the weather. I mean, just everything, all the above is just second to none. So really blessed to be out here with the guys. Great spirits, locked in. You know, it's the first day back, so there's some things we're working through, but really optimistic. Guys are in a great spot. I think it's fun to see the progress come from the spring, and you know, I'll tell you what, like the guys are on it, the intent's there, and you know, it's us as coaches, like, hey, let's point out the things where we want to grow from day to day. But yeah, it's just great to have the guys, you know, back, and you know, we missed them. The guys got to learn what to do and how to do it, and you're only allowed a certain amount of allotted time on the field. And our theory is you know, we're trying to use that time better than anybody else and be more efficient, so our guys can play better ultimately. So yeah, it's critical this time of year for sure.
Mike Macdonald was the only coach or player that made it to the podium today. We'll hear much more from the players, as you can imagine, as Seahawks training camp continues. This show will continue in just a few. We'll be right back from the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. Back live at Seahawks headquarters as we wrap up our training camp special. And one of the things Mike Macdonald was so proud of with this football team in the offseason was the fact that all those voluntary workouts had 100% it wasn't mandatory. It was 100% attendance from his players, and that's pretty impressive when you consider they didn't have to show up for those. It was just voluntary, and that's one thing Mike touched on today was the fact that his guys are committed.
I think it's really important personally. I think the guys feel it. They feel the confidence. You know, you talk about our insoles today. It's like, hey, I've heard this 3 times already. You know, rather than the first time you're hearing it. Offensively, you know, I think we almost had 100% participation the whole time, and so you can feel the execution right now where they're at compared to they were first day of the spring. And then defensively, we're on a little bit of a different timeline, but you feel the connectedness with the guys, and that's really important, especially on defense. You know, you got to play off each other. There's a lot of chemistry that's necessary to play good defense.
You know, we've talked about the veterans on this show and the key veterans they have on the Seahawks roster, but one of the rookies to look out for is Gray Zabel, their first-round draft pick, and we already know his level of commitment is almost off the charts.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be relying on him to an off-the-charts level, right? And that's why they drafted him where they drafted him, and they believe that he can step in day one.
Yeah, Abe Lucas said it to me today. This is a guy that's fitting in right away, not playing like a rookie. He showed up at rookie camps, at OTAs. He was already in that starting spot on the left side. We know how big of a position this is for the Seahawks, protecting that blind side, and I think Gray Zabel was, you know what? He's what the fans have been asking for decades. Go pick the best offensive lineman you can. The Seahawks did that.
And it was versatility that they loved so much, and that's why they drafted him right there. They saw it in the Senior Bowl, and that's why they got him.
Yeah, and he's a big dude, too. He can move some linemen, and Ken Walker will be one of the guys who appreciates that most. It was good to see him out here healthy on day one. Walker has made some outstanding highlights in the past. The biggest thing with him is about ability, and the best ability is availability with Walker.
Yeah, and, you know, as much as we mentioned Ken Walker, we've been talking a lot about him. I think there's a lot of depth when it comes to this running back position, but something we haven't talked about enough, I think, as I'm transitioning a little bit here, is to the quarterback, Sam Darnold. A lot of people look at these so-called NFL experts. They look at this Seahawks team. They're not giving them a lot of high hopes. I look at this team day one, Paul, and I mentioned right out of the gates in Arielle, no Geno Smith, but there's a Sam Darnold out there. Sam Darnold was 14-3 last year for Minnesota. This is a quarterback that is red hot. Sure, he had a tough playoff game. He was 14-3. I think this is a better Seahawks team than we saw a year ago.
And Sam Darnold is actually really great off the play action. And how do you get a play action going? It's with the great running back, and Ken Walker's going to be his best friend.
Yeah, I think so too. And not to mention all those guys on the offensive line will be his best friend as well as they operate as a unit. I think Seahawks fans in the last 5 to 10 years have just been clamoring for John Schneider and this organization to go out and put some priority on getting some offensive linemen, spending some of the cap money on offensive linemen, and I think that's what we've seen, and they've kind of recommitted themselves to that position, and we've seen the guys that are up front. Again, it's all about staying healthy.
Yeah, and right now they're looking pretty good so far, but it's only day one.
And for the fans, stay healthy. If you're coming out to training camp, bring some suntan lotion with you, a spray bottle. It's going to be hot out here.
Yeah, it could be a 3-shower day. We're not sure. You make the call. That's going to do it for us.
Go for the record.
Thank you for joining us.